Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Kobold Chats. My name is Kendrick or Kendo, whichever you prefer, and it is Friday once more. The end of our day, somewhere in the middle of our, end of our week, somewhere in the middle of our day. And I don't know if you're, hanging out at home, maybe you're at work, whatever it is that you're doing. Don't worry, I'm not going to tell anyone. I'm not your parent, your boss, or anything like that. But I am happy that you're here hanging out with me, doing one of my favorite things, talking about Kobold Press. My goodness, gang! If you were watching over on YouTube, we just released a new video today where I unboxed my copy of Player's Guide 2. Where is it? It's on my shelf. I might grab it in a second. And I was just, I'm trying out a new format for the unboxing videos to hopefully make them more useful for both new people finding them and such, and just kind of doing a whole overview of the book. There's also a lot of stuff going on in Player's Guide 2, so it's a little hard to be like, this is specifically the thing that I want to talk about. So it was just like, oh, hey, here's a broad overview. But we might do more. I have some old books that I do need to make videos about. And so maybe we'll get one for the old Margrave, Dungeons Deep, things of that nature. Just so everyone can have an easy thing to look at and go, I understand what's in this book. There's just one video that talks about it. Thank you. I can send this to my friends and it pitches it to them as well. Like, that's hopefully the goal for those videos. Let me know and talk about either in the Discord or in here how you feel about them. What other kind of videos would you all like to see? Knowing all of that stuff is incredibly helpful because it helps us know what to make for you. So always let your voice be heard. All right, that's enough of me gabbing. We got stuff to talk about this week. And I pressed the wrong button again. This is the right button. Okay, Jiro. Thank you. What are we talking about? Well, first and foremost, as you might have also already seen, and we've talked about just a wee bit around here, not too much, but now that we're fully out of Night Hunter's territory, at least for right now, on the crowdfunding end, that's right, we have to talk about Hastening Doom. Bam. So Hastening Doom. What is this? I'm going to copy and paste this link so it's easy for you all to find. If you're watching on YouTube, it's already in the description, but I'm posting it anyway. Bam. Hastening Doom is a mega dungeon adventure for Dungeons and Dragons 5th edition as a part of Mega Dungeon Month. Kobold Press, alongside a bunch of other publishers like Monty Cook and such, coming this April. Or I'm pretty sure Mega Dungeon Month is April. Yeah, 39 days, a little bit over. Yeah. No, that feels right. We are doing a crowdfunding event alongside a bunch of other people. Let's see. It's Goodman Games, Monty Cook Games, Ghostfire Gaming, Loki Battle Maps, and Troll Lord Games. We've got so many awesome publishers all coming together with all their own different projects. And this is ours specifically, Hastening Doom. Definitely want to hear more about the new Mega Dungeon upcoming BACKERKIT. Super excited. Yes. So we could talk about this actually. So as you see, as you can read in here, it is a 5th edition D&D. It's got 64 pages. But this is coming from, I don't know if you all are familiar with the project. Oh gosh, what was it called? Was it D23? I think it was. I'm pretty sure it was D23. It was, hold on, sorry, my brain is just trying to remember the name of... Yeah, it was D23 or like Dungeon 23, back in 2023, where every single day over the course of a month, people would make their own dungeons. You'd make it room by room every single day, right? And Kobold Press took part of this over on our blog, and we started making it, and we wanted to take that and expand it and create like a true like full adventure path, levels 1 through 23. Sorry, not 1 through 23, levels 1 through 12. And it is basically like a drop-in dungeon. You could take this whole dungeon and put it in whatever fantasy game that you want, whatever your campaign is, and it's got a lot of space for you to fill with story, but it is a dungeon for you to use in your game. It's a very classic dungeon crawl vibe that we're going for. Even from like the art on the front, we're going for very classic fantasy, right? We're talking dungeon delving, we're talking traps, puzzles, monsters, all of that 9 yard, as well as having, some tie-ins with other Kobold Press IP, specifically Creature Codex, and so there's some things that are peering towards lore that is insinuated in some of those like monster descriptions and stuff like that. But it's got a very like flexible kind of vibe, right? You can either like do it as one whole campaign in and of itself, right? You could use the dungeon to do like I think it's like 4 or 5 like adventures within the regions of this dungeon, and you can just like take them as like kind of modular, place them wherever you want. It works with a long-term campaign, just a kind of plug and play session. It's truly whatever you want to do with it. You have one question that I would have this filled, but it would be also cool just map blanks without anything else filled in. Just a thought. Oh, do you mean like in a way of it is just the rooms of the dungeon, like as like classic black and white? There's no like full thing in there. Is that what you mean? Or however it is. If you want to clarify on that. But this is going to have very like classic, bold, black and white, kind of like real old school RPG feel is what we're going for here. And it's just a real nice and simple 64 pages. It's a dungeon you can put in your game. That is Hastening Doom. Sorry, bad typing. Yeah, no worries. I don't think that this is going to be that specific product, but if this is something that you want, I would always encourage being loud in the Discord about things that you want, because we do read and we do listen. Hey, thanks for subscribing. Awesome. So that is Hastening Doom. Obviously, we still have a little bit more time before this comes off. I mean, we have well over a month, but we wanted to remind you to go sign up to get notified so that when it does go live, you keep hearing Deacon sing. So that you can go, so that you'll get notified the moment that it launches. We're going to be louder and louder about this as we get closer, but this is the seeds being planted for a garden to spring forth and fruit to bear fruit. So this is a part of Mega Dungeon across the companies as collaborative or specific one to KP only. So it is going to be a part of a Mega Dungeon month. Will have multiple publishing companies all doing their own dungeon things all around the same time during Mega Dungeon Month. Ours, Hastening Doom, is a Kobold Press only project that is a part of a larger Mega Dungeon push during April with all of the other companies, if that makes sense. So, Hastening Doom, Kobold Press only, Mega Dungeon Month, multiple people. Multiple companies. Okay, cool. So that is Hastening Doom. I also just wanted to do a very quick shout out that there is currently a Foundry sale going on. Because guess what? Foundry VTT, the marketplace at the very least, is... Oh, I put the wrong thing up. It's a year old. Woo! Happy birthday to Foundry. And as a part of it, for a limited amount of time, you can get 10% off of so many, I think almost all of the Foundry VTT marketplace, which means it's a perfect time to go get yourself some Kobold Press stuff if that's exactly what you're looking for. And I mean, that's it. Yeah, no, good. If you use Foundry and you're looking for some Kobold Press Foundry VTTs, then get 10% off. It's as simple as that. All you gotta do is go. All you gotta do is go. Now, obviously, our main thing here is going to be talking, just like we did last week, we're going to be talking about the new member of the Valiant Six that is being introduced to the world. And then we're going to look into the Player's Guide 2. We're going to look through their class and subclass options just to see, how they get all put together. But before that, I wanted to point out another blog post from a couple of days ago, written by none other than our good Kobold in Chief, Wolfgang Bauer, about the importance of reviews. I'm going to link this in here, and we're not going to read the whole thing together. Please take some time by yourself to go read this. But we wanted to talk about how incredibly thankful we are about you all support, especially publicly, and especially when you all review us, either on our own site on Kobold Press Store, or TTRPG, or or Roll20, or Shard, or Foundry, or Amazon, wherever it is that you're getting Kobold Press books, and you can give a review. We would love it if you could, partially because we like it when we know how you all feel about the books, but also it genuinely helps us, especially on platforms like Amazon or DriveThruRPG or literally wherever, because it is what is going to make someone stop and go, oh, hey, other people like this. Maybe I will like this too. Whenever I'm looking for, a new game, a new whatever it is, right? And there are reviews, that's one of the first places I go, because I want to make sure that this is actually going to be what it says it is. And so having that there, when you all do like a book, when you all do want to talk about how one of our products, one of our books, one of our whatever has like helped you out in your game or made things easier for you or helped facilitate a good time, it's incredibly helpful for us when you both just tell your friends and talk about that publicly, but also when you do a formalized thing like a review, even if it's just as simple as giving it 5 stars, it means the world and has a very material impact on us, because it means more people will see it and more people will go, hey, I will get that as well. And when we have more Kobold Press customers, it means we can make more Kobold Press books, and the community grows and we all benefit from that. And so we just wanted to say, hey, if you have left us a review for anything that we have, whether it be on the Kobold Press Store, whether it be on DriveThruRPG, whether it be on Amazon, wherever it is, thank you so much. It means the world to us, and it's genuinely helpful. And if you're any other person in our Kobold Press community and you have the time, energy, and desire to help us out in this way, please do so. And thank you so much. It means a lot, because we like being able to do this, and we can only keep doing this if we get more people to get their books and want to be a part of our community and be a part of Auric Play and being in the Discord and just having a good time. So I just want to say that, please, when you have the chance, go read that blog post. If you're watching this on YouTube, it's in the description. And so that's that. Thank you so much. And please, hey, if you leave us a review, let us know in the Discord and be like, hey, I left a review here, so that we can thank you specifically for doing so. Heck yeah. So that's that on that. I just want to talk about that a little bit. But moving on to the main thing we're talking about, we've got to talk about Lucien Albright, Siderian Theurge, or Theurge. I'm kind of going back and forth on if I want to say Theurge or Theurge. And the only reason why I would say Theurge is because I think it sounds a little cooler. That's it. Right? That's it. But I think Theurge is probably correct. Now, last week, we talked about our first newest member, Avena Elodie, the witch, and now we have to talk about Lucien Albright. So, Lucien Albright is a Siderian Theurge. He's obviously the kind of fiendish persuasion, but he's a Theurge, which is one of the new classes from Player's Guide 2, which mixes a little bit of arcane and divine magic to be a master of magics. And specifically, their subclass is Illuminary. I don't know what that means yet. And I can't wait to find out. They have the Covenant, Heritage, and the Chronicler background. Yay, like that they are... Yeah, I also like that they're Siderian. One of my favorite parts about the new Valiant 6 is I love the variety of lineages that we're seeing. I love our core Valiant 6. It is a lot of humans, elves, and dwarves, which is like classic fantasy. Sure, why not? I love them for that. But the new Valiant 6... I mean, obviously we have our human witch, but we have our Siderian Theurge. We've got our goblin barbarian. We do have a halfling. We have our halfling bard, but we have a beastkin ranger. Ugh, it's so good. I can't wait to get to all of them. But today we're talking about Lucian. So let's figure out his backstory. Excuse me. The prodigy offspring of a great Arrhenius commander and her archmage paramour, Lucian showed a powerful aptitude for magic at a very young age. His destiny was thus heralded and celebrated amongst the cosmopolitan elite of the greater hell of TTRPG. Lucian's parents enrolled him in the renowned Academy of Arcane Excellence the moment he was eligible. The first several years of his young life were spent under the tutelage of strict masters, engaged in painstaking research and memorization of esoteric knowledge. Lucian was a bright pupil and excelled at his practical arcane lessons, but he developed an intense love of books and the pure knowledge they provided. While being required to copy word for word the preeminent texts of his studies, he sensed a deeper meaning behind their languages, symbology, and ideas, and he found himself connected to such great arcane works on a spiritual level. There was something divine in the act of recording thoughts, formulas, and histories. In his limited spare time and his meager living quarters, Lucian sought to gain a keener connection to the almost sentient power behind the tomes he cherished. He even created a librum through which he could focus and reinforce his abilities. He was both elated and terrified when the spark of the divine reached back out to him from his magical tome. It confirmed his suspicions and forced him to question his purpose. Initially, Lucian kept his newfound connection to the spirituality of the written word to himself, fearing, rightfully so, that his mentors and peers would deride him, or worse, for his devotion. The power he found granted him greater control over magic from both the arcane and divine sources, allowing him to perform more impressive accomplishments in his studies. But he knew his heretical beliefs and practices would eventually come to a head. When Lucian intuitively cast a complex spell and both elements during a difficult exercise, his classmates were aghast when his teacher appalled. No longer able to hide his mixed approach to spellcraft, he defended his ability before an unforgiving panel of mentors. He was censored and expelled for heretical application of unapproved methodologies. Although firm in his belief that a connection between the arcane and divine was not just possible, but transcendent and holy, he couldn't bear the bitter shame. He left TTRPG to find evidence that others saw the world of magic as he did, to be both mastered and worshipped. He now spends his time traveling with the Valiant Six, seeking ancient holy texts that shed more light on his understanding of the labyrinth, and hoping his devotion brings boons to both himself and his companions. Whew. Now that. The title The Theurge can easily be read as the musical group TheUrge. You gotta watch out, it's Theurge. And then it's just like a group of bards. But I love this guy. I really like the description of like the approach to the act of studying and recording histories and thoughts and ideas as being something that is divine and holy, right? The protection and the intention on trying to make a thought or a singular moment or an idea permanent, lasting forever, or as permanent as we can make it through our writing, or to be passed down from one person to the other in the hopes of either inspiration or education. It is something genuinely divine. And I love that that is what comes through in at least Lucian's story and how Lucian interacts as a Theurge in this world. It is a really, really, it's like being a knowledge domain cleric, but like in a way that is like not just studying the like religious text and the beliefs, right? But the action, the praxis of being a part of the divine work that is recording knowledge and passing knowledge on. It's, I love this. I think actually reading that convinced me to play a Theurge more than just the idea of the Theurge itself, because I think as a concept the Theurge is interesting to me conceptually. I don't know if I would want to play one, but I think Lucian is the kind of Theurge that I would love to play as, which is so interesting to me. Okay, so we know that he is a Theurge, and we know he is the Illuminary subclass. But you know what we don't know? What either of those things are. So let's figure it out by going on over to the Tales of the Valiant Player's Guide to... Now, let's go down in an earlier round. Theurge. Here we go. Get this out of here. I don't need that. All right. Let's get ready to rumble. Drink some water. Cool thing about the Theurge is the merging of the cleric and wizard magic types. Absolutely. Oh, the musical group, I'm sorry. Yeah. TheTheurge. I understand it now. Okay. Some spend their lives poring over ancient tomes and texts. Others devote themselves to the gods, acting as emissaries of the divine. The Theurge seeks to achieve a perfect balance between the arcane and the divine, blending both kinds of magic into a powerful and cohesive whole. Theurges revel in the unbridled wonders of magic, regardless of its source. They strive to refine their magical abilities, driven by their quest to accomplish ever greater feats of spellcasting. Although many Theurges worship a specific deity, often one devoted to magic, others choose to venerate personifications of magical forces, or perhaps even magic itself. Theurges typically possess an unquenchable and obsessive thirst to further their understanding and mastery of spellcasting and magic. Their might lies in their ability to draw upon, combine, and manipulate forms of magical power to overcome any obstacle. Playing this class will yield great rewards for players with a keen understanding of spellcasting, especially those who delight in curating the perfect spell list from a bounty of options, I assume? Options. The Theurge class allows you to break the rules, rewrite the laws of magic, and combine spells in ways other casters can only dream of. Yeah. The first thing I checked when I got my copy is if there is art for the goblin, and there absolutely is. Okay, so let's talk about Theurges as adventurers. Theurges are remarkable individuals who redefine the limitations of spellcasting by uniting arcane and divine magic. A Theurge pursues their craft with a cleric's devotion and a wizard's discipline, combining the best of two distinct worlds to forge a potent mystic power that is entirely their own. A Theurge's unique blend of disparate perspectives, philosophies, and values allows them to navigate a wide variety of communities with ease. Traveling with the Theurge often opens doors and makes it easy to find allies among academics, priests, mages, and monks of all stripes. Theurges, like wizards, are primarily academics, ill-suited to physical challenges. However, like clerics, a Theurge's access to divine source allows them to heal, bolster, and defend allies on the front lines. While the difficulty of simultaneously mastering two sources limits the number of arcane and divine spells a Theurge can ultimately master, they more than make up for a lack of versatility with their ability to rewrite the rules of magic. Excuse me. A Theurge can cast spells at an astounding rate and maintain these spells through the conditions that would break even the most tenacious clerics or wizards. Oh boy. So, we get a kind of squishy spellcaster who can be kind of supporty, right, because of the divine spellcasting nature of it, but also could, because there are also a lot of divine spells that are just bringing down the holy fire. So it's really still kind of up to you how you want to build it, I think. But we'll see what the actual mechanics of this kind of feel like. Okay, goodbye. As a Theurge, you have the following class features. So we are starting off with a D6 hit die. So there's that kind of squishiness, right? Wait, let's talk about the quick build here. Love the quick build, makes it super easy. For ability scores, you prioritize intelligence and then constitution. And for your background talent, you could choose scholar and then ritualist, which I imagine just gets you more rituals and lets you do them different. For your spells, you can choose the guidance, light, and ray of frost cantrips. Your librum contains the following first circle arcane and divine spells: Bless, Burning Hands, Cure Wounds, Featherfall, Mage Armor, and Magic Missile. Ooh, I love the Bless and Cure Wounds there to kind of make it real juicy. And then you choose your first circle ritual, Identify. If you took the Ritualist talent, then choose the Divine first circle ritual as well, Detect Poison and Disease. Understandable. You are a full caster, as you can see, and the number of cantrips and rituals known are here as well. And then as you're building your character, so notice you have no armor proficiency. You're only proficient in simple weapons, no tools. You do get intelligence and wisdom save proficiencies, and then 2 from the list of Arcana, History, Insight, Investigation, Medicine, and Religion. Featherfall, very underrated spell. Love Featherfall. You never know how much you'll love Featherfall until you're on top of a burning building. And it's time to jump. So many good uses. Your starting equipment, so pretty classic stuff, right? Quarterstaff, dagger, component pouch, arcane or holy symbol. Arcane focus or holy symbol, because obviously you get the best of both arcane and divine worlds. You get to choose either a scholar's pack or an explorer's pack, and then you get your librum. What's your librum? Well, hey, guess what? That's what this is all going to talk about. So at first level, you get Spell Nexus. As a bonus action, your librum, while your librum is within 100 feet of you, you can open a magical conduit between you and it, allowing you to instantly replace one spell you currently have prepared with another spell of the same circle, and source transcribed from within the librum. For example, you're a 3rd level Theurge, and you could instantly replace one first circle arcane spell you currently have prepared with another first circle arcane spell transcribed in your librum. So they do have to be both the same circle and the same source. So you can't do Sorry, I was making sure no one was knocking on my door. You don't have, so you have to make sure that, you can't replace a first circle arcane spell with a first circle divine spell. It has to be both the same circle and the same source. And you can use this feature a number of times equal to your proficiency bonus, and you regain all expended uses when you finish a long rest. easy way for you to just swap around some spells. Very versatile, especially because you don't know as many. Very good. So, spell casting, hey, guess what? This works basically all the same, except you get both. You have Theurgic Librum containing spells that show the first glimmerings of your true power. Hey, guess what? And then you get to choose Arcane and Divine spell lists right there. At first level, you know one cantrip of your choice of the Arcane spell list, and then one cantrip of your own from the Divine spell list, and then the third you can choose whichever. So you're going to see in the spell casting, there's going to be a lot of flip-flopping of like, you have to choose one of Divine, one Arcane, split the difference between the third, however you want to go. So that's going to be for your cantrips, and it's also going to be for your spell stuff later, but we will get to that. Next, we have to talk about the Librum. The Theurge, I want to play as someone who was meant to be a knight, but was really into algebra and abandoned his order for knowledge. Ooh, I love that. See, there's so many different ways that you can go with it. Like the ties between like how someone goes from divine to arcane or arcane to the divine. And like, there's just, it's a really interesting blend, both mechanically but also fictionally, especially when you find things like faith and divinity being kind of separated from ideas of like logic and rationality. And that doesn't necessarily need to be the case, especially even within our own world. So many scientific discoveries and stuff have been led by people with faith. So I love how that kind of thought process is kind of baked into the Theurge as a concept. You learn how to craft a Librum, which is a tiny magical object that contains your spells. However, a Theurge Librum is more than just a mere spellbook. It is a physical manifestation of a Theurge's power and mystic reservoir. Wait, hold on, that wasn't done. Wait, that wasn't the end of that sentence. No, go back. A mystic reservoir of the esoteric knowledge unlocked over the course of their magical studies. Creating a Librum forges a bond between it and the Theurge that transcends physical reality. The process stamps the Theurge's soul with a mystic symbol that forever tethers the Librum to its creator. This symbol is typically invisible to those with normal sight, but it is visible upon the Theurge's skin when viewed with magical sight. Or it might become visible when the Theurge casts their spells. The exact appearance and placement of this mark is up to you, but traditionally it appears as a golden third eye on the Theurge's brow. In wizarding and since wizards go to college, could also double as... Who did a double major? Ooh... The arcane studies and the divine practices, or theological history in the realms, whatever your deal is in your thing. So your Librum is a unique vessel. Basically, it can look however you want, but most resemble books stamped with the Theurge's personal symbol, but they can take the form of a scroll, inscribed tablets, or similar objects that can be easily held. The exact appearance of a Librum is a reflection of the Theurge who created it, so the details are ultimately up to you. And then there's all your spell stuff, right? When you first create your Librum at first level, it contains 6 first circle spells. You can use these spells from the Arcane or Divine spell list, but at least 2 have to be from the Arcane spell list, and the other 2 have to be from the Divine, which takes up 4, and then the other 2 you kind of choose whatever you want, right? Your Librum is a repository of all of the spells except for your cantrips, which are so simple and well rehearsed that you don't need to write them down. The Theurgic wisdom contained in your Librum is incomprehensible to anyone but you, and other creatures cannot read or copy any spells or text contained within it. Destroying the Librum, it's pretty hard to destroy, actually. Can't be destroyed by most means. And it can't be used to activate. It can't be used or activated by anyone other than you, because of that magic mark you have on you. And then replacing it is kind of like replacing a spellbook, Classic. So, number of spells that you can prepare is your intelligence modifier plus your Theurge level. So a minimum of 1 because of that. But, hoping that your modifier isn't 0 here. If it is, can't be that upset with you, I guess. Preparing a new list, so on and so forth. Casting spells, yes. Learning new stuff. Intelligence is your spell casting ability modifier. Rituals, kind of, it all does what it does. It all does what it does. Now, let's talk about what makes it more special. What makes the Theurge special? Just thought of something. My daughter, who plays ToV, created a notebook as her character journal. I could see someone into stuff like that making their character journal look like their Librum. See, that's big thinking, big brain right there. That is, I love that, the physical aspect of like having a thing around with me that I have to bring to the game because it's got my character sheet and all my notes. But also, it's kind of like a little prop, a little in-fiction fun toy to make it feel like I'm actually pouring through my tome of spells. Okay. Your studies and experience using power from multiple magic sources gives you profound insight into the workings of magic. This insight is represented by a pool of spellcraft dice. You have a number of spellcraft dice equal to your intelligence modifier, and these dice are d6s. You can't spend more than one spellcraft die to modify the same roll. Unless specified otherwise, once you spend a spellcraft die, you immediately roll it and add the number rolled as instructed. Then the die is expended. You regain spellcraft die at the end of a short or long rest. So, there you go. Even that is the antikythera mechanism would be cool. I don't know if I'm familiar with that. I have something I need to go look up now, because that sounds fascinating. Antikythera. Okay. You can spend so here are the ways that you can spend your spellcraft die. You deal damage. When you deal damage or restore hit points with the spell that you've cast, you can spend one spellcraft die to deal additional damage or heal or restore additional hit points equal to the result. Now that is already incredibly useful, right? Both as someone who wants to deal damage and as someone who wants to heal, right? You do just a little bit more because of your understanding of the magics necessary. You can just push a little bit more out of that. When you make a con save to maintain concentration, you can spend a spellcraft die to maintain your concentration. And when you make ability checks to learn, decipher, or recall information about a spell, spellcaster, magic item, or magical effect, you can spend a spellcraft die and add the number rolled to check the result. Because you're just that in tune with magic. You're just so in sync. Now, spellcraft die, that's interesting. Because it truly is, it's so simple, right? It's just you do a little bit more, you're better at maintaining, and you know magic super, super well. And this die changes sizes at 9th and 10th level to a D8 and a D17, but I can only imagine what the subclasses are going to want to do with spellcraft. It looks like a compass and a sextant and a Mayan calendar all at the same time. Oh, interesting. Looks like an orrery. Like an ancient thing for, interesting. Their second level feature is Summon Librum. Your growing power deepens your mystical bond with your Librum, allowing you to sense its location and summon it to your side. While the Librum is on the same place of existence as you, you can sense its location and know the exact amount of distance between you and it. If the Librum is on a different plane, you know which plane, but not its precise location on that plane. And as a bonus action, if it is on the same plane as you, you can summon it, causing it to appear in your hand or in the nearest unoccupied space within 5 feet of you. If you don't have a free hand. Like if you're, arms bound or something like that. Then you get your Theurge subclass stuff at 3rd, 7th, 11th, and 15th level. You get your improvements at 4th, 8th, 12th, 16th, and 19th level. And I do like how, relatively simple this is, because there's so many of these levels that are just like, oh yeah, we're just popping back to this, make it better. Okay, move on. Oh, popping back to this, making it better, moving on. So, let's talk about spell synthesis, which you get at 5th level. Your profound understanding of magical duality allows you to tap into deep reserves of spellcasting power. You can expend a use of this feature to cast 2 prepared spells of 4th circle or lower on your turn, as long as one spell is from the arcane list and the other is from the divine list. Casting a divine and an arcane spell. Same time. Okay. Interesting. You can cast a spell, so you do need to meet some stuff. You can cast a spell with a casting time of 1 action with a cast action spell, and the second spell with a casting action of 1 bonus action as your bonus action. Or you can simultaneously cast 2 spells with a casting time of 1 action as a part of the same cast a spell action. So, you could do something like a healing word, which is a bonus action, and a firebolt, right? You can... Wait, do cantrips count as being a circle? Yeah, they do. The next level is the most insane in my opinion. Oh gosh, okay, let's see. We'll get there. Casting spells in this way expends a spell slot for each spell as normal, so you're not saving on spell slots, but you are getting more bang for your buck immediately. And you can't cast a spell of 5th circle or higher using this feature, even if you normally could use a spell slot to cast the spell at a higher circle. So you can't like upgrade a spell to get increased damage as long as it's not above 5th level. 5th level or above. 5th circle or above. Once you use this feature, you got to use a short or long rest before you get back into it, and then at 13th you can use it twice. At 18th level you can use it 3 times. Regardless of whether you have multiple uses available or not, you can't use this feature more than once on the same turn. One thing going through this does make me wish that KP would put out some high-level adventures. I know they supposedly wouldn't sell as well, but with how hard it is to homebrew high-level play, that's understandable. And I think that's why a lot of that stuff tends to be relegated towards like adventures and things of that nature, where it's like, oh, you will be getting to higher levels. But I do think that there is a benefit to having just like, oh, here's a one shot or a quick adventure I can run that's like 16th level, you know. I feel ya. Maybe one day. All right, let's talk about superior focus, which Pistol says is insane. So let's see. You can simultaneously maintain 2 spells that require concentration. One must be from the arcane spell list and the other from the divine spell list. While concentrating on 2 spells in this way, you must make a constitution saving throw to maintain concentration on these spells at the start of each of your turns. If you fail to save, both spells immediately end. That is wild. In addition, while concentrating on 2 spells, you have disadvantage on constitution saves made to maintain concentration whenever you take damage or suffer another effect. That does not apply to like the base one that you have to do. But anything that causes you to lose concentration, including being incapacitated or killed, causes you to lose both spells. That is sick. And there are the combinations of spells that you could end up using. Like I'm thinking like Sacred Guardians, and then like a Fog Cloud, or even like a Hail, what is it? Hail of Snow? Hail of Ice? I don't remember. The one where the ice storm that happens. That's what I'm thinking of. But that is sick. I do love that. At 10th level, you get your heroic boon, obviously, because your commitment to the Theurge's path grants you a powerful new ability. Choose one of the following boons. So you get Careful Craft. When you add one of your spellcraft dice to an ability check or save, and that roll still fails, die is not expended. I love that. That's really nice. Persistent Craft. If a creature you can see succeeds on a save against one of your spells, you can expend a spellcraft die to force the creature to re-roll the save in subtracting the number rolled on the spellcraft die from the new check as a result. That's really good. That's really great. Precise craft. If you roll one of spellcraft die, you can re-roll the die and you can take the new result. In addition, if you roll the maximum result on a spellcraft die, such as an 8 on a d8, you can re-roll the die again and add both numbers to your check. Ooh. Ooh, that's good. Ooh, that's juicy. It would be hard. It would be hard for me to choose. I think it would be really hard for me to choose which one. I guess like I would have to be playing and know the vibes of how things have been going for me. I think before I was able to choose so easily. Vicious craft. You gain an additional way to use your spellcraft die. When you cast a spell that requires you to make an attack roll, you can expend one spellcraft die and add that number roll to the check result. I didn't even realize that wasn't a part of the base use until this says that, but that makes sense and is also really good. And I think is like one that I would be like tempted to taking. Again, depending on how I'm playing. Careful craft is so good since it does allow the player to be a little riskier. It makes them want to use them, which I think is fun, right? Because you want to use them. That's the whole deal. Yeah, so that is that. Let's talk about flawless concentration. While maintaining concentration on one or more arcane or divine spells, you never have disadvantage on constitution. So basically, this kind of makes up for superior focus. Regardless of the damage you take, environmental phenomenon, or any other features or efforts. In addition, if a creature deals damage to you with multiple attacks on the effects or effects on your turn, you no longer have to roll con saves for each instance of damage it deals. Ooh, that's fun. To maintain concentration. Instead, you need to make only one save against it in the instance with the highest DC to successfully maintain concentration. One of the best things about ToV is that everyone doesn't end up with the same character. Yes, because there's so many choices. Even if you even going down the same subclass, you will still end up being a potentially different person than someone else because you get these heroic and epic boons that can really take your character in very different directions. It's hard to play two of the same characters unless you're deliberately choosing the same exact options every time. It's like, oh, you chose the same lineage, heritage, background, talent, class, and subclass as a previous character. Well, of course you feel the same. But you could do that and still end up with a different person because of the heroic and epic boons, I think. Or even if you took different talents. Whatever. Okay, epic boon. Your commitment to the Theurge's path grants you a powerful new ability. So you only get one of these. You get Supreme Craft. You can now expend up to 2 Spellcraft die to modify the same roll. And if you end your turn with no Spellcraft die, you automatically recover one expended Spellcraft die. That's fun. Again, it's trying to push you to use it because it should be fun. You should want to use it. Supreme Focus. When you make a Constitution save to maintain concentration, you can treat any D20 roll of that of 9 or lower as if you had rolled a 10 on that die. That's really good. In addition, if you fail a Constitution save to maintain concentration while you're concentrating on 2 spells simultaneously, you only lose control of one of them rather than both. That's so good. That is so good. Hold on. Oh, there we go. If it's a hard choice, it isn't well designed. I agree. There isn't a default that everyone will use. Yeah, none of them feel explicitly better just in general. They all feel like, well, I would have to see what it feels like in the moment, right? Which I agree. Good design. And then finally here we have Supreme Unity. If you start your turn with no uses of your spell synthesis feature remaining, you can combine raw power and from your arcane and divine magic sources to immediately restore all expended uses. No action required. Ooh. You must finish a long rest before you can do that again. And as a reminder, spell synthesis is this one right here, which lets you cast multiple spells. Excuse me. It's so good. I got really tired all of a sudden. But we are almost through this. We're not going to read through the conduit. I'm sorry, everybody, but we are going to read through the illuminary because that is what our dear Lucian is. So, the urges that embody the illuminary devotion draw and focus through symbols. The boons in the book are so good. These theurges consider the distillation of complex concepts into words or signs to be the ultimate form of power. They view communication through language, expression through mathematics, and engagement with similar symbolic systems as sacred processes. Illuminaries access the divine and arcane through the study of creation of universal symbols of power, extending the reach of their own magic through the inspiration of mystic symbols. At third level, here is some of the stuff you're getting. You're getting Mystic Scribe. First and foremost, you get proficiency with artist tools. If you already have proficiency, double it. In addition, over the course of 10 minutes, which can be done as a part of a short or long rest, you can gain a cosmic understanding of a language. When you do so, you choose one language that you don't know. Guess what? You know it now. Alternatively, you can choose a language that you can hear or attempt to read over the course of the 10 minutes. At the end of this time, you gain the ability to understand and speak the specified language. And you can also read and write in the language as well. This understanding lasts until you use this feature to learn a different language. When you learn a different language, the previous language is forgotten. So basically, you can load up on languages. You can load up on one new language at a time. Oh man, I don't know this. Boom, bam, pow, bada bop, boom, pow. Now you do. And the Illuminary's Librum, paper bag filled with sand and a candle. Possible. Oh yeah, candle. Oh yeah, no, absolutely. Actually, yes, absolutely. And then they have Sacred Sign. You can mark a creature with your personal theurgic symbol, linking it to your magic power. And as a bonus action, you can inscribe your symbol upon a willing creature within 5 feet of you that you can touch. Once inscribed, the symbol remains active for 10 minutes or until the target is reduced to 0 hit points. You can also choose to end it early, no action. While the creature is marked with this symbol and is within 120 feet of you, you can target it with spells that have a range of touch. Hey, guess what? Your barbarian's going out. They're ready to tank, but they're going to need some healing because they're going to get hardened fast. Boom! Sacred Sign them. Do your healing touch on them. Make it magical. Mwah, beautiful. You can target it with spells that have a range of touch regardless of the distance between you and the creature, as long as they're within 120 feet of you. As an action, while the symbol is active, you can see through the target's eyes, hear what it hears, perceives what it perceives via any of its senses. You are blinded and deafened while using this target's senses this way. As an action, you can resume the use of your own senses and perceive through the senses of a different creature marked with your symbol. Now, at third level, you can only have one of these active at a time, but the number of active symbols you can maintain increases as you level, becoming 2 at 7th, 3 at 11th, and 4 at 15th level. That's a whole party right there. That's a whole party. If you already have the maximum number of symbols activated and you use this feature again, guess what? Another one disappears, and it is your choice which. At 7th level, you have spell Sigil. As an action, you can inscribe a sigil on an item and expend a spell slot equal to or less than your intelligence modifier to cast as like a circle, right? So like first circle would be +1, second circle +2. You understand. To cast a spell of that circle, you have prepared into the item. The item must be a suit of armor, a weapon, a shield, whatever, or other object that can be worn or wielded. And the spell must be a spell that targets a single creature or an area. If the spell has components, you must apply them when you inscribe the sigil. When you inscribe the sigil and expend the spell slot, the spell isn't cast, but is instead bound to the item for 24 hours, or until activated. At the end of the 24 hours, you can expend 10 minutes to retract the sigil, so on and so forth. You can retract it, but as an action, you or a creature you designate when you inscribe the sigil can touch the item and activate the sigil. When the sigil is activated, the stored spell is cast. If the spell has a target, it targets the creature that activated the sigil. If the spell affects the area is centered on the creature. If the spell normally requires concentration, it doesn't require concentration and lasts until the end of its full duration. You can have a number of spell sigils equal to half your proficiency bonus. That's real nice and juicy. Just putting marks on things so that you can claim them as your own and then use your magics to destroy your enemies. Or maybe spy on them, or whatever it is that you want to do. And last but not least, we have Potent Symbol. Your Mastery of Glyphs gives you a new way to cast the Symbol Ritual from Player's Guide. As an action, you can use this feature to cast Symbol without expending slot or any materials whatsoever. And when you cast the spell in this way, the symbol created lasts until triggered or dispelled, or until you use this feature to cast a symbol again, which causes old spells glyphs to disappear as soon as a new one is created. Once you use this feature, you can't use it again until you feature a long rest. Sorry, my brain. The Illuminary Theurge is a nerd. They're a bit of a nerd, and that's okay. I'm a bit of a nerd too. I'm a huge nerd, in fact. But their whole thing is taking the power of writing down history, memories, ideas, concepts, spells, rituals down as a divine practice that they will then use to allow their magic to affect those that they have written on or write upon the world again. It's so cool. Lucian Albright, my Bolorbo, my little baby boy. He's so good. All right, everybody, head on over here. Thank you all so much for being here for another Kobold Chats. This has been a blast, as it always is. I have really been enjoying these, the reveals of the Valiant 6. There we go. It's pronounced Theurge, not Theurge. Thanks for clearing that up. You're so welcome. You're so welcome. But I've been really enjoying all of the reveals of the new Valiant 6. I've been enjoying reading through the Player's Guide 2, seeing just who is in there and what they're up to. That's all been really, really great. Tragically, everyone, next week I will not be here. I'm going to be out of town visiting some friends, and so I'm not going to be here next Friday, which is very sad. But I will be here first week of March, and we will have lots more to talk about when it comes to our Valiant 6. And maybe some other stuff too. We'll see. KoboldCon is just around the corner. All right. Well, everybody, thank you so much for being here. And don't forget, if you're watching this on YouTube and you don't already subscribe to us, please hit that subscribe button. It means the world. And go out. Please give your reviews. Let people know how you feel about our books. It means so much to us. Truly it does. But yeah, I think that's all I've got for you all. So don't forget to go out, be bold, be brave, be valiant. And I'll see y'all next time. Bye.